Julian Fellowes, the creator of the series, hinted that the grief that follows the unexpected death will throw one person's life out of balance. Written by Stacey Lamb. Drama has been abundant in Season 3 of The Gilded Age, with a tumultuous wedding, more scheming among New York City's social elite, and astute financial dealings. However, the most startling event to date occurred at the end of Episode 6, John Adams's passing. Claybourne Elder's beloved figure was slain when he was struck by a carriage on the street without warning. After helping his friend and ex-lover Oscar van Rhijn, Blake Ritson, through his financial collapse and unannounced reunion with the woman who stole all of his money, Maud Beaton, played by Nicole Brydon Bloom, the surprising event occurred. John's passing is a huge setback for viewers of the historical drama written by Julian Fellowes about elite society in 19th-century Manhattan. Additionally, it ends the series' brief LGBTQ plot between Oscar and John. John initially appeared on The Gilded Age as a possible suitor for Oscar's cousin Marian Brook, Louisa Jacobson. However, it soon became apparent that John, a descendant of President John Adams, and Oscar were having a covert affair. However, John told Oscar van Rhijn that he was dating another man and was content with his identity as a gay man after the show. In an attempt to boost Oscar's business and career, John offers his friend who is struggling financially an investment opportunity in Season 3. Oscar was able to repay the investments and begin moving back up the ranks after they wrote him a check. But the reappearance of Maud, who turned out to be a dancer at a gentleman's club, nearly undid Oscar's good fortune. He confronted her and found out that she had swindled him out of all of his money in Season 2. Oscar later had a change of heart and offered her $100 with the condition that she never go back to Manhattan and a train ticket to Sandusky, Ohio. The last thing John said to her in Episode 6 was, "I like this new version of Oscar van Rhijn." Then, claiming that Maud was also duped, he consoles his friend over the loss of his money. John said he will invest more in Oscar's career as they strolled down the street, complimenting him on having defied the odds. John added, "This is where we part, but they will cross paths again when he introduces Oscar to a new investor who will become his latest lucky client." In answer, Oscar gushed, "You are my lifesaver. I thank you with all my heart." John was killed in front of Oscar, who was surprised and perplexed, when he went out into the street to ask for a ride and was struck by a carriage. In an interview with Out magazine, Elder discussed how portraying John affected the program. "The Gilded Age has been such a meaningful experience for me," the Elder stated. "Being able to play a queer character in this specific historical context is significant and thrilling to me as a queer actor. We know gay people existed, loved, and found ways to make spaces for themselves even though it wasn't precisely possible for them to live openly in the late 19th century. He went on to say that it was cool that his character has connections to actual history. "What I love about John is that he's complex, he's navigating a world that doesn't necessarily make room for him, but he has this desire to do what's right," he added. It serves as a reminder that, despite the fact that history hasn't always chosen to highlight them, LGBT people have always been a part of the narrative. "It is a great honor for me to realize that." Fellowes agrees with Elder that John lived at a time and location where he was unable to be transparent in an exclusive interview with People regarding Season 3. "I think my main consideration with John Adams was that there are a lot of people inevitably in a society that is pretty intolerant of any aberration, so it means a lot of pretending and a lot of people are living artificial lives, more or less successfully." Then Fellowes teases that when real grief comes into that, then it's all unbalanced because you can't just pretend that nothing's happened and that you are fine and everything's okay. On the whole, Oscar manages his double life without frightening the horses and so on, Fellowes notes. It serves as a reminder that, despite the fact that history hasn't always chosen to highlight them, LGBT people have always been a part of the narrative. "It is a great honor for me to realize that."